Welcome to One Weighted Machines and the B7 Audi RS4 series. In this video, we will continue the diagnosis and begin the repair on the coolant leak on the driver's side of this car. Things that I should have mentioned, which a forum search brought to my mind afterwards, is that my car does not have an underbody tray, which is very bad. I could get damage on the road. But most of your cars, if they are all intact, you should have that plastic underbelly. And this coolant leak that I've shown in previous videos that drips down underneath the driver's side headlight, you wouldn't see it with that belly pan. So if you do get a low coolant light, take that belly pan off, let the car run again, and then you can pinpoint the location. In a previous video, I had stated that it's a failed coolant hose. This is what a mechanic that sees 5 other RS4s in the area had said last year. An experienced forum member, after doing a forum search based on their Instagram comment, I saw that they have pictures of the actual radiator on the driver's side with a leak on it. There were also people on this old forum thread asking if this can be done with the bumper on the car. You should take it off because that person's leak was on the back side of the radiator. So for anything you're doing here, if it's a coolant hose, you might be able to get away with the remote hose clamp. But we're going to take the bumper off. We're going to check everything out and find the actual source. I also saw in the forum post that some people have pinhole leaks in the actual side of the rad where it connects to the hoses. So that's something else to look out for. So it's either going to be a hose, the rad, or pinhole leaks. Now the other thing that this forum member also said is that the radiator on this side is interchangeable with the one on the other side. So we might be able to save some money and just move that one over to this side. But we'll go through everything and see what it ends up being. So these are the remote hose clamp pliers. I bought them from Princess Auto. They were 60 bucks. I've read different things about quality on Amazon, so we'll see how this works, and at the end I'll tell you if this did the job fine. Because for some of the coolant hoses from underneath, you won't be able to reach them with needle nose pliers. For information on removing the front bumper, that video is available on my channel. Just do a search. That plastic intake scoop is a bit broken on my car, but where the glove is where we're zooming in next. I'm also going to remove the driver's side fender liner for better video angles and to be able to see the back of the rad when the car is running. The lower fins don't look to be in the best shape. This is one reason you don't want to power wash straight into those grills because that can damage the fins. This could have been caused by other things too, like debris. But having the plastic pieces all intact can lower the chances of these kind of things happening. I don't think there's going to be a leak from this part, but we will see. Looking at the back side of this rad, there seems to be no damage, but this will only make itself clear once we run the car. Usually the coolant leaves a streak of white, so we might still have a hose problem on this car. On an interesting side note, there's another vacuum reservoir inside the driver's side fender liner. Alright, so in this clip, we are just underneath the driver's headlight. Coming down here, there's the rad, and this over here this is the water pump here. So that rusty bolt on the left side of the screen, if you look at the one right beside it, there's still a little bit of coolant from that previous Codes Part 5 video. So it shows me that that is where the coolant is leaking down from. Now I'm going to go in from a different angle and I'll show you I found a hose that seems like it's partially off. This could be due to rust, age, or improper installation by somebody before. Now this water pump, it can be removed at this part. I think the thermostat is housed in here in order to change that portion of it. I don't know if you can buy the thermostat separately, but that's not our problem here. These bolts are reverse e-torques, so I'm a bit iffy on taking them off because of the rust on my car. I'm not going to remove the water pump completely. I am just going to loosen this section and hopefully I can access that hose. So now we'll go a little bit further in and I'll show you that fitting where there's crust, and we might not even have to go too far up with changing the coolant lines on this particular car. But do note still that these cars can leak from a lot of different places, so your car might be different. Don't mind the light in the way, as it's very tight here, and this is the only way I can get light on this part. So here we're looking at the back part of the thermostat housing on the water pump. So just for reference again, I'm zooming in here, okay? So this little curve here is the top of the water pump thermostat housing. All right, the camera won't focus, so this right here is the top of the thermostat housing. I don't want you guys to lose the spot. I'm going to go a little bit further in from here. So you can see that black hose right in the middle of the screen. Where you need to look is right where it starts to curve upwards. There is a coolant fitting there. And you can literally see the crust and the fact that the coolant hose is not completely fitted in. I'm going to go further in and try to focus it again now. Okay, so the camera will not focus. But that clamp that you see there at the, not the most bottom left rusty clamp, but the one right beside it, underneath that black hose, in that fuzzy area where it's not focused, that hose you can see is not completely connected. And I'm telling you that it's crusty coolant residue that is in between that hard pipe and that soft pipe. So I'm going to try to put the camera down now, turn on the car, and we'll see that if it leaks directly from this spot. Okay, so with the different camera back here, if you look at the top right-hand side of the screen, again, that smaller rubber hose, right above it, that white section is coolant crust behind it. Hopefully this can be clear. I'm going to turn on the car, get it up to operating temp, and let's see if it leaks from that spot. The car did not start because the battery is completely dead. I've still to buy a battery tender, which is something everyone should have if they store their cars in the winter. Once the battery charges, we will turn on the car and run the coolant hot and see where it leaks from.